I opened our bedroom door expecting to find Leah getting ready for dinner. Instead, I found her in bed with Derek, my best friend since middle school. Leah didn't scream. She didn't even flinch. Just pulled the covers up halfway and stared at me like I'd walked into her house uninvited. Derek scrambled like a damn coward, mumbling something, trying to hide his face. I couldn't even look at him. My eyes were locked on her. "You serious right now?" I asked, my voice tight, my hands shaking. "Him?" She sighed. "It's over, Jake. I'm filing the papers tomorrow. You'll get served soon." Like she was canceling a dinner reservation. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. I didn't speak. I couldn't. The room spun, and I tasted something bitter in the back of my throat. "You should leave," she said. "This doesn't have to be messy." I backed out the door, walked down the stairs, and out of the house I'd paid for. Mowed every Saturday, painted with my own 2 hands. I didn't even think. I just walked. That was a Tuesday. By Friday, I was fired. Carl called me into his office, said something about poor performance, downsizing, and keeping things clean during transitions. Translation, Derek got promoted, and I was the collateral. The next week, half my friends stopped returning texts. The other half acted like I had some disease they didn't want to catch. I checked into the Red Pine Motel with a duffel bag and 2 changes of clothes. The walls were yellow from years of smoke. The carpet smelled like wet dog and old cigarettes. I sat on that lumpy mattress, staring at the ceiling fan spinning like it had a purpose, wondering how my life exploded so fast it barely felt real. I was a sales manager at Belmont Ford, working 60 hours a week, grinding for commissions, hitting my quotas like a machine. Didn't matter. Every time there was talk of a promotion, Carl would give it to someone else. I didn't whine about it. I figured hard work eventually pays off. Then, on the 3rd night, Derek showed up, smiling like a guy who already knew the answers to the test. He didn't even want to sell cars. He started some stupid auto blog on the side, posted videos, ran his mouth about disrupting the industry. Carl loved it. He called Derek a visionary. Suddenly, he's sitting in on leadership meetings. He's consulting on marketing plans. I'm still out there hustling to move inventory while he gets steak dinners and a reserved parking spot. And somehow, Leah thought that was attractive. We had a decent life. 2-story house in Lafayette, clean lawn, white fence, backyard grill. Every Saturday we'd have coffee on the deck. She liked it black with oat milk. I drank it like a trucker, strong, sweet, and burnt. She always talked about next steps. Maybe law school, maybe flipping houses. She was driven, yeah, but I didn't realize how much she needed to be in control. I thought we were partners. She thought I was holding her back. And Derek? That bastard was always around. Game nights, barbecues, holidays. I used to joke he was our 3rd roommate. Turns out, he actually was. That night, after I left, I drove around for hours. No music. Just the hum of the engine and that image burning in my skull. Leah texted me around midnight. "We need to talk. I'll be filing tomorrow." The next morning, I came by to grab a few clothes. She was in the kitchen, cool as hell, sipping coffee like it was any other day. "I'm going to make this clean," she said. "I've already spoken to a lawyer. There's no need for a fight. We'll split the house, the savings, your retirement account. I'm keeping the car." "My car?" I asked, staring at her. "No," she said, not even blinking. "Our car. The range, and the dog, too. Derek's allergic." It hit me then. She wasn't just leaving. She'd already moved on. "You planned this," I said. "How long's it been going on?" She didn't answer right away. Just stood up, walked over, and said, "It doesn't matter. This was always going to happen. You just didn't see it. No apology, no shame, just facts, like a damn spreadsheet. Everything we built, gone." The motel manager, an old guy named Ron with nicotine-stained fingers, knocked around noon. Said I had a package in the front office. "I didn't order anything," I said. He shrugged. "That's still got your name on it." It was a suitcase. Leather, worn down, real old. I almost didn't take it until I saw the faded white tag tied to the handle. My name, written in blocky letters I hadn't seen in years. Uncle Ray. He'd died 2 years back. Car accident, they said. Single vehicle, wet road, lost control, no witnesses. The investigation was quick and shallow. A 1-page police report and a quiet cremation. I brought the case back to my room and laid it on the bed. My hands shook as I opened the clasps. Inside, cash, stacks of it, neatly rubber-banded, sorted by hundreds. Next to it, a folded-up plane ticket, Denver, one-way, and a sealed envelope. This was the first time I'd seen Ray's handwriting in years. Jake, if you're reading this, then I didn't die by accident, and you're in danger. My throat went dry. I sat on the edge of the bed and kept reading. Derek was never your friend. He's been using you since the day I introduced you to Carl. I didn't know then what I know now. He's in deep with some dirty players at that dealership, and so is Carl. I started digging too late. I should have told you. I thought I could fix it, but they got to me first. You're not crazy. They've been working around you, not with you. And Leah, she's part of it now. Whether she meant to be or not, there's more. But I couldn't get it all before they shut me down. You'll find what I did gather, names, papers, bank statements, in Denver. You have to finish what I started before they do. To you, what they did to me. The money's for survival. The ticket's your first step. And Jake, trust no one. My hands were sweating. My whole body was. I stared at the cash, the note, the ticket, and suddenly everything snapped into place. The job, the promotions, Derek's rise, Leah's betrayal. It wasn't just bad luck. It wasn't just heartbreak. It was a goddamn setup. And this money, it wasn't just for surviving. It was ammo. I zipped the suitcase shut, tossed it in the corner, and grabbed my phone. I had some digging to do before I got on that plane. I started with the thumb drive taped under the lining of the suitcase. It was wrapped in duct tape and labeled in my uncle's handwriting. Start here. Inside were folders, labeled with dates, dealership names, employee numbers, spreadsheets, wire transfers, scanned documents, photos. I stayed up all night combing through them, eyes burning, heart pounding harder every hour. Ray had been investigating an embezzlement ring inside Belmont Ford, and he'd gotten deep. Carl had been funneling money out of company accounts through fake repair orders and inflated inventory expenses. The money would bounce through fake shell vendors, then disappear. Derek was tied to 3 of them. He wasn't just playing businessman. He was laundering Carl's stolen cash through that little auto blog business of his. And I had been a distraction, a tool, someone to keep close, someone to trust him enough to talk shop in front of. There were emails too. My name came up more than once. Jake won't notice, one read. Another, we're almost there. Keep him close until Q4. They weren't just screwing me over. They were using me. And Leah, she was the closing piece. Derek had gotten to her on purpose. I saw a chain of emails, short ones, careful, scrubbed, but it was enough. They talked about transitioning me out, neutralizing the marriage, removing internal conflict, removing me. I slammed the laptop shut and just sat there. My uncle hadn't died because of some bad road conditions. He'd gotten too close. And now I was sitting in the same damn crosshairs. I needed answers, not from files, from Derek. I knew he drank at Birch's, a little dive bar off Route 12. Thursday nights like clockwork. I waited until he was 3 drinks in. I wanted him loose. I walked in, calm on the outside, boiling underneath. He saw me in the mirror before I reached him. Didn't even flinch. Just smirked and raised his glass. Jake, he said, how's rock bottom treating you? I didn't sit. I just stared at him. You used me, I said. For years. You used Leah. You used Ray's death to move up. And now you think this is all just handled. He chuckled, slow and smug. Man, you really don't get it. None of this was personal. You screwed my wife? Yeah, he said, sipping his beer. And now I've got her, a house, a growing business, and Carl's backing. It was just business, Jake. You were in the way. I clenched my jaw so tight it hurt. My hands curled into fists. But I didn't swing. I wanted to. God, I wanted to. Instead, I leaned in. Ray found you out. He had the files, the transfers, the shell companies. You think this ends with me walking away? For a second, just a flicker, I saw panic in his eyes. He covered it fast, but it was there. Ray was a paranoid old man. You think anyone's gonna listen to some dead guy's conspiracy theories? I didn't answer. I just let the silence sit. Here's what's gonna happen, he said, standing up, suddenly real serious. You're gonna disappear. You got 50 grand, right? That's more than you deserve. Go somewhere warm, start over, and forget this happened. Or what? I said. He smiled. Or we make it permanent. That was it. The mask dropped. The smug fake buddy routine was gone. He didn't even bother pretending anymore. I walked out of there shaking, adrenaline ripping through me like I'd been shot. But something had changed. I wasn't scared now. I wasn't hurt. I wasn't looking for closure. I was done being the victim. Now I needed to figure out how to take them down. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the motel room with my laptop on my knees and the suitcase full of cash by my feet. I knew what I had to do. I just didn't know how to do it alone. So I called Joe. We hadn't talked in a few years, but he was solid back in college. Pre-law guy, always 3 steps ahead in poker and debates. Now he had his own firm out in Indianapolis. Jake, he answered half awake. Dude, it's been what, 10 years? Closer to 12, I said. Listen, I need help, legal help, and I've got something big. That got his attention. By the time I finished explaining, he was pacing on the other end of the line. You have paper trails, dates, names. I've got spreadsheets, shell company names, internal emails, transfers tied to personal accounts. My uncle tracked it all. Jesus! You know what you're sitting on? Yeah, and I want to take them down. He told me to meet him the next day. I booked a room near his office and paid in cash. That money from Ray, it didn't feel like inheritance. It felt like blood money. Joe took one look at the files and started building a case. We're gonna need witnesses. People inside or people they tossed out. Anyone who saw anything. We made a list of every employee who'd been laid off in the last 5 years. There were more than I expected. Joe made the calls. I knocked on doors. A few slammed in my face, but some talked. One guy, Brent, used to work in accounting. Said he flagged a report once that didn't add up. Nearly $400,000 in equipment upgrades that never showed up. Next thing he knew, he was restructured out. Another, Tracy, had been in service. She remembered cars being sold to customers who didn't exist. Same VIN numbers reappearing. Maintenance records for vehicles that were never on the lot. Joe pieced it together fast. Carl's been laundering money not just through fake vendors, but through fake sales. Derek's company was probably the funnel. They jacked up service prices, ran ghost repairs, and cooked the numbers for years. And I was just the idiot who brought donuts to the sales meetings, I muttered. Joe didn't sugarcoat it. They used your reputation. You were the face of honesty while they gutted the place from the inside. We traced one shell company, Grayson Holdings, back to a shady warehouse outside of Joliet, registered under Carl's cousin's name. Real low profile, but it matched with Ray's files. That's where the illegal parts were coming in. Cheap knockoff airbags, counterfeit sensors, even some stripped viands. I sat across from Joe, staring at all of it spread out on the table. My whole life, torn apart and laid bare like an engine block mid-repair. I'm gonna confront Carl, I said. Joe didn't look up from the documents. You sure about that? Yeah. I want to see the look on his face when he realizes I'm not backing down. He finally looked up. Just know, Carl doesn't play fair. If he finds out we're digging into this, he won't just lawyer up. He'll make sure it goes away. Let him try, I said. I'm not the same guy he pushed around. I made the call that night. Told Carl I wanted to meet, to settle some things related to the divorce. Keep it casual. Keep it quiet. He took the bait. We met at his office, late. After hours, no one else around. Place looked the same as always. Spotless floors, fake plants, glass awards lining the shelves like participation trophies. Carl wore his usual smirk and a tailored suit that probably cost more than my entire closet. Jake, he said, smiling like we were old friends. Rough couple months, huh? You doing okay? Cut the crap, I said, dropping into the chair across from him. He raised an eyebrow. All right then, straight to business. I admire that. He leaned forward, lacing his fingers. Look, I understand Leah's decision must have hit hard, but these things happen. People grow apart. I didn't respond. I reached into my bag, pulled out the folder Joe and I had prepped. Copies of Ray's documents, payment records, emails, shipping logs, and slid it across the desk. Carl didn't touch it at first. He just stared. Then slowly, like he was hoping it would disappear, he flipped it open. The color drained from his face. He scanned the first few pages, then flipped faster. By the third document, he was sweating. What the hell is this? He said, voice cracking just a little. You tell me. Grayson Holdings, shell invoices, falsified sales reports. You think Ray died not knowing what you were up to? He slammed the folder shut. Where did you get this? Ray left it for me, I said. You thought you got away with it, but he saw through you. And now, so do I. Carl stood up, pacing behind his desk, running a hand through his hair. This doesn't prove anything. It's circumstantial, out of context. Bullshit. It's a blueprint of your entire operation. You think a jury won't see it? He turned on me fast, slamming both palms on the desk. You go public with this, and you're done. You think you're gonna walk away the hero? You'll get sued, blackballed, dragged through the dirt. I've got lawyers who'll bury you before the morning headlines hit. I stood up too, slow and steady. Try it. I'm not walking away this time. You want to ruin my life? Be my guest. I've got nothing left to lose. He stared at me, jaw tight, breathing heavy. Then something shifted. His eyes flicked toward the folder, calculating. What if I gave you something better? He said. I didn't answer, just waited. Derek, Carl said. He's cocky, sloppy. He's not as careful as he thinks. I've got stuff on him. Real stuff. You want to take him down? I can help you do that. You let this slide, walk away clean, and I'll hand you everything you need to bury him. I stared at him. This was desperation, not negotiation. He wasn't protecting Derek. He was trying to save himself. You'd throw him under the bus just like that? I asked. Carl laughed, bitter and hollow. He was never loyal to me. He used me just like he used you. I don't owe that piece of shit anything. I didn't blink. Then why should I trust you? Because I'm offering you a way to win, he said. A clean hit, no courtrooms, no risk. Just you watching him crash and burn. I walked to the door, hand on the handle, turned back. I'll think about it, I said. But really, I already knew. Carl was panicking. Derek was vulnerable. And I finally had them both where I wanted. I didn't take Carl's deal. I didn't need to. I gave everything to the feds, Ray's documents, the interviews Joe and I recorded, even the fake invoices Carl tried to pass off as routine expenses. Brent and Tracy signed affidavits. Joe filed whistleblower protection paperwork. Within a week, agents raided the dealership. Carl was arrested on the spot. Fraud, tax evasion, wire crimes stacked like bricks. His accounts were frozen before he could move a single cent. Derek tried to play dumb. I was just consulting, he said in an interview. I had no idea Carl was involved in anything illegal. Didn't matter. Emails with his name on them were plastered all over the news. His smug little podcast vanished overnight. The board launched a full investigation. Derek got suspended. His face disappeared from the company website. That golden boy image he worked so hard to build burned to ash. The legal stuff dragged out for months, but I didn't care. I showed up to every hearing, every deposition, every press call. I stared them both down from across the table and didn't blink once. I didn't just get my name cleared, I got my power back. Leah called after the third hearing. Jake, hey, she said, voice soft. I saw what's happening. I didn't know it was this serious. I didn't say anything. I made a mistake, she said. I thought I was doing what was best for me, but maybe I didn't think it through. Maybe, I said. She sighed. I was angry. I thought you were stuck. But you've changed. You're different now. I had to be, I said. You made sure of that. I'm sorry, Jake. Her voice cracked a little. I really am. Maybe we could talk sometime? No. Silence. I'm not angry anymore, I added. But I'm done. You picked your side. I lived through the fallout. Now I'm finally standing again, and I'm not dragging you with me. She didn't argue, just said, okay, and hung up. I stood by the window of my new apartment, small, clean, mine, and watched the sun drop over the skyline. I never thought this would be the way I'd find closure, but here I was. I didn't burn their lives down out of revenge. I did it to survive. Leah wanted control. Derek wanted power. Carl wanted money.